Thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to go into my, just a minute.
Okay, so we are going to do 5-minute responses.
Yes. I'm going to start. Now I'm going to call this section Daniel's Delusions. Daniel, in numerous articles and videos, Perils of Educating Our Daughters, Muslim Feminism, the Modern Form of Burying Our Daughters, Should Muslim Women Work, etc., he argues against female education. Clearly, women who go to college will disproportionately suffer from moral degeneration associated with the rise in liberalism and feminism, while there is no denying that liberalism, feminism, is damaging traditional social structures. I'm not denying that. But Daniel, all throughout his arguments, uses US studies, stats, and then very conveniently goes on to apply that to the wide Muslim ummah. The question in the very beginning that we need to ask Daniel is that the Muslim ummah is 2 billion strong, mashallah, with roughly half of them being women. So 1 billion Muslim women we're talking about. So when you keep saying in all your lectures, feminism is the status quo, are you prepared to prove to us that a large chunk of these 1 billion Muslim women who say the Shahada, many of them, most of them, are feminists? When you write your articles like The Perils of Educating Our Daughters or Muslim Feminism, Modern Form, whatever, the question is, who are these Muslim women? Because you use this general statement, the Muslim women. Who are these Muslim women who need to be saved from feminism? Now, I want to show my screen. Share my screen, please. Sorry, I forgot about that. There you go. Yeah, I can't do that. Hold on.
Your time is still running.
No, you'll have to stop, please. Because I wanted to share my screen, I'm sorry. But I can't do that for some reason. Have you disabled that?
No, it hasn't changed. It's the same screen that you had before. It's the same slide that you had in the intro. And I left it up the whole time.
There you go. Now, can you see my screen? No. Hello?
It's the same old slide that you had before.
Yes, now. Okay. I'm sorry. Can we, that was like 1 minute? Okay, I'm going to start from here.
No, it was 2 minutes.
We're talking about...
Let's go.
Okay. So we're talking about who are these Muslim women? So I want to ask you this question because the question is, who are these Muslim women who need to be saved from feminism? Are you talking about so these are the US stats he always uses. US is a non-Muslim country. Are you talking about the Nigerian Muslim woman working in potato fields trying to make ends meet? Or are you talking about the Indonesian Muslim woman who prays all her salawat in the factory working for less than $1 just because the husband's income is not enough as the country has been hit by the falling currency value? Or are you talking about the Syrian Muslim woman who saw her husband, father, brother all killed and now fends for herself by working in a store in Turkey, coping as a refugee? Or are you talking about an Uyghur Muslim woman who saved enough money to get a technical degree and work in a Chinese factory? Now, Daniel, it so happens that the Muslim Ummah is not homogeneous. According to Pew Research, 10 of the largest Muslim countries that include Indonesia, Afghanistan, Nigeria, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan are either stuck in a continuous cycle of war, violence and civil unrest on the other side, along with facing the worst economic crisis in history. All that these women want is to survive. That's it. For them, their degree or their work is not a result of some feminist brainwashing, empowerment, taking over the world, and all of that. It's just a tool for their survival. This is one of the many, many problems with Daniel's ideology, that he takes a specific case of women affected by feminism, yes, and then applies it to a 2 billion strong Muslim ummah, thereby releasing his very generic verdicts like, should Muslim women work, should Muslim women get degrees, etc. Yes, course, your wife, Khalid, thank God, found it appropriate to mention their case when she says in timestamp 5643 of Should Muslim Women Work that some women, they have no choice but to work due to the circumstances. Thank God she said that. I'm very grateful. Some women, we're talking about a 2 billion population, 70% of which lives in war-torn areas. Okay, war-torn areas. Let me remind you, working doesn't just mean making PowerPoints and walking in corporate corridors. Even washing someone's dishes, sewing someone's clothes, cleaning someone's house comes under work. And this is the situation of a huge population of the Muslim Ummah, be it in Yemen, in Somalia, in Kashmir, in Bangladesh. Your ideology is disturbingly divorced from reality, Daniel. You are deluded. No, if I have some time. So it's like...
No, you don't have time. It's 5 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so let me just reset this. Yeah, so your entire presentation is a hoax, basically. You cite all kinds of half-truths or complete falsehoods. I want to describe some of that from your intro, but let me first actually talk about what you just pointed out, like women working in sweatshops. What does that have to do with education? Like you're talking about women working. That's a whole separate topic. We can debate that. You're citing women working in sweatshops in war-torn countries as some kind of message of empowerment and something good for women, like Uyghur women working on Western clothes or on Nikes in the sweatshop. That's very bizarre that you would point to that. So I want to note that you didn't respond to my points about how within the Quran, within the Sunnah, within the scholarly tradition, we see no claim that women should be empowered, let alone go and pursue empowerment and social advancement through education. Nowhere do we find that. All you've done is cite and cherry pick examples of women and say that this somehow supports women's empowerment. This is a hoax. This is not actually the case. And many of your examples are completely misleading. Let me go through some of these that I wrote down for you. Okay, for example, you mentioned Sutaita al-Muhammadi. You mentioned Fatima al-Fihri established the world's first university. Okay, she established it, no problem. Were women attending this first university? No, it was all men. It was all male madrasa. And there's absolutely no evidence. First of all, there's no evidence. Historically, it's questioned whether she actually founded Qarawiyyin. That's a historical debate. And second, there's no evidence that she or anyone other female were studying at that university or teaching other men. You mentioned people like Fatima al-Baghdadiya and saying that she would lecture in front of the masjid, in front of men. There is no historical data from this. This is from Akram Nadwi. Akram Nadwi is the one who puts forward these ridiculous claims, and they have been completely refuted. Okay, when you actually look at the reference in Ibn Kathir and elsewhere, it does not mention Fatima al-Baghdadiya lecturing men from the pulpit. Yes, women would teach other women, and women would sometimes transmit a hadith to an individual man behind a screen, but there is no historical evidence of a woman going in front of men on the mimbar and giving a lecture in plain view of men. There's no historical evidence of this. And Akram Nadwi's evidences have been shown to be fraudulent. He misquotes them. So everything that you're citing is from that. Let's see. And the proof of this, like a very strong proof of this, what Akram Nadwi ignores and what you ignore is the fiqh. Because the fiqh in all madhahib, in all four schools, say that this would be fitna for a woman to show her face and to stand in front of men and lecture. This is impermissible, especially for young women. For young women, women who are showing their face made up like these modern sheikhas who go to the masjid and give lectures with makeup and the tightest, most, form-fitting clothes. This is something that all madhahib have prohibited. And even the example of the sahabiyat that you gave of going to the masjid, this is not the case. They would go to the masjid for salah, for fajr and isha. So when you talk about Salama, for example, these were older, or Atika, radiallahu anhum, anha. These were older sahabiyat, and they were going to the masjid completely veiled in black, including their face, and they would go for Fajr and Isha Salah at night when it's pitch black. There's no electricity, there's no lighting, so they cannot be seen. This is completely different from the situation that we have today with these feminists going to the masjid and in their Sunday best or their Friday best for showing off. Fiqh, if we actually look at the fiqh, this is completely prohibited. Also, a big example, when you mention Shifa bint Abdullah and you say that she's an economist or like a health and economy minister, do you know what she really was when you actually go to the sources? She was in charge of hisba for women. Do you know what hisba means? That means she had a whip, and if women were not covered properly, she would whip them. She was in charge of enjoining good and forbidding evil. That's hisba. It's not an economic minister, okay? There's no, show me the Arabic where it says economic minister. In fact, I have the Arabic right here in front of me. I can read it for you. So she was...
Okay, you're over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll stop there. You go ahead. 5 minutes.
Okay. So